All right, hello everyone. It's Astro Boy. We're back with the Astral Thoughts podcast. We have a special guest on today. We have Gino, and we'll be talking about some very interesting stuff. We're going to be focusing on 2020.
Word.
So, you want to say hi, Gino?
Hey, hello. How's everyone doing?
All right, so just gonna have a nice conversation. You guys can just join, listen in. You guys can just basically comment below with what you guys think as well. So the first question I just want to ask Gino, I guess, how you been surviving in 2020?
Well, honestly, I mean, I just feel like everything is changing, and that's, to a lot of people, that's not comfortable. So most people out there living in a way of, they're scared, they're uncomfortable, and that's normal. Fear is part of life, but you can't let it keep you away from all your family and all your friends and all of that. Like, you need interaction. You need human interaction to kind of survive. So me personally, I've tried to take precautions, but not listen too much to the message that's being put out there, because I feel like the message has been put out there has a lot of agendas. So you kind of got to listen with your heart. When you listen to these news and stuff like that, you got to use your brain also, but I feel like you got to put down and listen with your heart. Like, does this make sense to me? Because a lot of the stuff just doesn't make sense. 1 week they tell you, you could get it from counters. The next week they tell you can't. That's very low chances that you could get it from counters and stuff like that. So you got people out there walking around with gloves and you need these bacteria to be part of your life. So you can't just kind of close yourself out.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, okay, use some hand sanitizer here and there if you go out in public and you need to. But for you to have it in your house, and it's just like, let's say just you and your wife or you and a couple of kids, and you constantly using it. But why? You haven't even left your house.
The thing I don't get either is like how, I guess, what the whole Covid-19 thing is. It's a virus, but they're making a vaccine for it and everything. But it's a virus. But the thing about it, since it's a virus, you can't cure it in any way. It's literally, you just got to build up your immune system for it, and basically just let your body do its natural course to get rid of it. And they're always trying to come up with like this thing. It's either you're gonna get sick, you're gonna get over it, or you're gonna die, whatever. But it's not that likely that you're gonna die. But it's just like everyone's just scared, like you said. And I think that's what bothers me. It's like everyone, once they say one thing, the next thing you know, everyone's following that same boat. Everyone's just doing what everyone else is doing just because they're scared, or because they're just following blindly. Right.
We have that like ant mentality. Like, we just keep following what the person in front of us is doing, and our society doesn't push the fact that you should have your own personal thoughts. Like, you don't have to follow what everybody else is doing. Like I said, what I've done up to this point has worked good for me, so I'm not going to change it no matter what they say on the news. I'm healthy, thank God. My kids are healthy, my wife is healthy, so we're going to keep it going the same way. But I think part of the whole COVID thing is the fact that people are afraid of death. In our society, death is something you just don't talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you talk about death around the kids, everybody's like, shh, don't talk like that in front of the kids. Like, come on, man. Like, no, if you shelter away from death from when you're young, it makes you scared of it. Like, look, I've looked in like Hindu, the way of they live, right? When someone dies, they basically bring them around the whole neighborhood. So as a little kid, by the time you're like 6-7 years old, you've seen your fair share of their bodies, and you feel like that's part of life. In our society, death is not part of life. Like, that's totally all over there all by itself, and we don't deal with it. That's just something you deal with when you have to, and that's not a good way to put it. It's like, think of anything else, right? Like work. You don't just show up to work one day and now you're, they throw you right into the themes of it. Like, you got to learn how you work, how you do things. Just like death. If you start thinking from an early age, what happens when you die? That's, to be honest, to me, There's no better question than that.
Honestly, the fact that you said that, because I remember when I was like probably like 10 years old, or like maybe like 8 or something.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like asking like my older brother, I was like, what happens when we die? And he was like washing dishes, and he's talking to me. He's just like,
He probably dropped the dish when you said that.
he was just like, oh, you just lay in the dirt, and that's it. And I was just like, I remember after he told me that, I was just like, oh, all right. And then I remember going upstairs, just laying in my bed, just like, damn, I don't want that to happen. I don't want to just lay in dirt forever.
You're right.
But like, I feel like, as like you know, when you join the spiritual path, like you discover that death is actually a good thing. And that's actually like one of the best new beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's sad in the sense that, you're not going to be able to spend more time with your loved ones back on earth.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like once you're on this spiritual path, you realize you never truly die. You're always going to be born again.
Right.
And you just lose that fear of dying, basically, too.
Right. It's an acceptance of death. Like I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was saying, like, do you think the plants and think of like when they're going to be chopped down and when they're going to be eaten? I don't think they live with that fear. You know what I'm saying? I believe they live in a different kind of consciousness, but they know, they understand that that's part of their life. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, if you think about it, if you really, really go deep into to death, just think of trying to live your life at 30 years old forever, being 30 years old. At some point, that will get boring. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't grow, you don't get older. It just like people think. I used to say that too. Like, I want to be immortal. But when you really, really sit there and think about what your years will be like, honestly, be hell on earth after a while. So the fact that you have that death is part of living. It actually makes living worth even more. You know what I mean? Because then you feel like think if you live forever, you why will you even get off your couch? You know what I mean? Because you'd be like, man, I could do that tomorrow. So it's kind of like it's very important. But I think it's important for us to tackle that subject when we're in our teenage years. Or even like, I'll be honest, my kids are, they're 10. 6 and the smallest is 1. I talk to them about death all the time, and they even have an understanding that they're like, oh, they're like, oh, Dad, when you die, and my wife will come in and be like, what do you mean when you die? and they're just like, yo, yeah, when Dad goes, we're gonna miss him, but all the lessons will be here, blah blah.
They're gonna be like that. Dad's just meditating.
Yeah, exactly. For the rest of his life, he's meditating. He loves that, But it's just like, and that, to be honest with you, that right there, what you said, your brother said to you, is one of the things that we all heard at some point. Like, oh, you just go in the dirt.
It sucks.
And that's scary.
Yeah, it sucks to hear that as a kid, because as soon as you plant that negative seed in that kid's head, it's you just planted this little seed of fear in their mind, and then it's just going to grow into something else. You don't know what else it's going to grow into, but I feel like it's just like a better way. You got to talk to kids about that.
Yeah. And I've talked to them about reincarnation and stuff like that. I don't go deep into it. And I tell them, this is my belief from what I've experienced. This is how it goes. You might end up with a different type of experience, but just know that it's not, you just go in the dirt and that's it.
Yeah.
The best way I try to describe it to them, I think me and you spoke about this before, was like a car. A car, I'm the consciousness of the car. When I get in the car, then I could drive the car around. The car doesn't drive without me. So the day that the car is totaled, you leave the car there, you bury it, do whatever you want to do with that car. But then you get a different one, just like the body. The body's that car. You are the soul, the consciousness of that body. So yes, your body goes, and yes, it's sad for your family because they don't have you there no more. And that's understandable. But we need to celebrate the life and celebrate the afterlife, because then afterwards you're going on to something else. You know what I mean? I heard on your podcast you talk about soul, the clusters of souls and things of that nature. And so there is a lot more to life than just what your eyes could see. And it's part of living, and you just got to kind of keep going with it and understanding. Like what I understood about death 10 years ago is totally different what I understand about death now. You know, I know that I'm not just gonna be in the dirt with my eyes closed and feeling like I'm in the dark. First of all, if you're dead, how are you gonna experience that?
That's true.
You can't experience darkness forever, because if you're dead, you can't experience that. Once you're dead, your senses are gone, so you can't experience death. That's impossible. So let's start there. You know what I mean? And then let's move. Then teach kids that, teach people that, and then from there you can move on to whatever you want to say is going to happen afterwards. But this thing going in the dirt just doesn't work anymore. You know.
That's like brings to like the next topic. Like you said, darkness doesn't last forever. Because I feel like, you know, 2020 is literally all about negative things, like people passing away. You got the election coming up next month. Mm-hmm. Oh man, like,
and I don't like getting into politics because people get all mad and stuff. Look, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I really don't, I have my own personal opinions about everything, so I can't be one thing, so, but what I do got to say is that I feel like we got to check the media, mm-hmm. that if there's anything that President Trump has done, he has checked the media, like I said, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Biden supporter, but I feel like Trump has been a catalyst to a lot of change.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like he definitely he just like has that personality, I think, in him where like certain people gravitate towards him and other people don't. Yep. But it's like it's just
you either love him or hate him.
Yeah, you either love him or hate him.
Yep.
The thing about Trump though, it's like I don't know if you notice, like with like the people that's like some, I don't say all the people that support him, but like some people that support him. Yeah. It's just like he kind of holds like this platform for other people to just spew hate and everything. Yes. Which is just crazy. It's just like,
it is. You're 100% right. It's almost like when before him it wasn't okay for you to be like, let's make America great again. And you know what they mean with let's make America great again. Let's not play stupid. But and it made people be okay with being like, oh yeah, I'm a racist. I own guns and I will shoot you if you get in my property.
It's the thing.
No humanity.
Yeah, like I think I was talking to someone saying like how now it's like if you see that that flag that's like with the white stars,
the Confederate flag.
No, there's a Confederate flag, but also there's the other star with like the police officers have.
Oh yes,
that flag too. Like now if you see that flag on someone's car or something, you just like thinking, all right, wait, are they racist or are they really supporting the police? Like what is this? And it's because one of my friends, when I was back in college, right after Trump was elected, he was driving on the street, whatever, and some lady's trying to come out, take a turn, but he was going straight because he's already late to school. Yeah. So he didn't let the lady go in front of him. So he's driving, and the lady finally turns, and she's behind him, and she's honking her horn at him, and he looks in the rearview mirror, and the lady's holding up a Trump sign and pointing at it to him so he can see. So then right there, that's it just opens up your eyes because it's just like you can't truly say this is what Trump stands for or whatever,
because he's never come out and said that.
He's never come out and said it, but there's other people supporting Trump for different reasons.
Right.
But it's like it's that his personality or whatever. He's a terrible person, whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's bringing out the good in others. Right.
Because look, before him, there wasn't as many women in Senate, Congress. Like that's a fact. Like it felt like when he got elected, I saw women rise up, and honestly, our human needs that. We need the women to be leaders. No disrespect to the men, but we've already done a bad job at this. I think it's time for the women to lead on, and we just need to follow. Not blindly follow. I don't blindly follow anyone, but just the fact they have new ideas that haven't been implemented in years. I mean, it was at one point, Egypt was matriarchal too. You know what I mean? So it's not like this is a new thing. It's a cycle. We got to go through these cycles, and it's their turn to lead now, and it's okay. And they more than likely, history will tell us they will mess it up years from now too. It's not just us. It's just our human disease. Like that we fix things, we figure it out, we do good, and then we figure out a way to mess it up. That's just part of life, and that's okay. There's nothing bad about that, and that's what I'm trying to get across from this whole COVID and Trump, is that it's not all bad. In order for us to get to the new earth, like Eckhart talks about, we need to go through uncomfortable changes, and that's always been there. That's always been an understanding that we're gonna go through these changes. Like I said, this is part of ancient wisdom, yogis, and all of that. Ancient masters been talking about this time coming for years. So we shouldn't be that shocked that 2020 seems like.
How do you think 2021 is going to be, Gino?
Yeah, I think we're gonna see more stuff popping up. I think I don't think we should look for it as we just need to get to 2021 and things are gonna be all better.
Because it's still gonna go down.
Yeah,
something's still gonna go down.
Yeah, there's a lot, and let's just say, for the sake of argument, if Biden wins, things are gonna change again. Yeah. If Trump stays, there's gonna be a lot of angry people. So there's gonna be some challenges in 2021. So I just hope no one looks at 2021 as this is we're going to start new and everything's going to be good. No, we're going to be going through this change for a while. Financially, things are crazy, even though, I was talking to my brother about this earlier, and this is kind of funny, but, they say, that we're like in the middle of a regression and more people unemployed than ever. But yet you try to buy a house and people are paying over the prices.
So where are they getting the money from?
Exactly. Where's this money coming from if everybody's unemployed? Why is everybody buying houses still? You know what I mean? So you got to look at that type of thing and be like, wait, is this the media trying to pump fear into my heart? Or is this was this factual? And when you look at it, you just got to look at your everyday life to see if things will make sense. And I haven't, and God forbid, no one that I know is out of a job and stuff like that. And I hope it stays like that. But they talk about all these people being unemployed. I don't see anybody unemployed, really. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry for those out there that are unemployed. I'm not trying to say that it doesn't happen, because I know it does. Yep. But just like the COVID numbers, I feel they're inflated. Like they push these numbers to make us scared, and we knew the second wave was coming. It's coming right in time for the vaccine. Exactly, just in time. Just so happens. It's so weird how things like that happen. But let's don't be scared by. I'll be honest. My advice to people is shut off the news. Don't watch the news. If you need to find out what's going on, trust me, there's plenty of people out there that will tell you what's going on. Like. Like I'm sure you have somebody in your family that watches the news 24/7. You don't need
I know you mean, because it's like I feel like you watch the news. 80% of the news you're watching that they're broadcasting, it's all negative, and I think it's just intended that way. Yeah, it's you're seeing something negative, and like you say, like they say, when you're just around something so much, that's that thing you're gonna manifest. You're just gonna manifest something negative. So, and it's like, so that's why I try not to watch the news either. Anytime I see something, I just try to shut it off. You're gonna see what's going around the world anyways. If you watch the news or you don't.
Exactly. I mean, you should be able to tell what's going on in the world just by the people around you. If you connect it,
that's smart. That's smart too.
Yeah, if you connect it, if you're really aware of your surrounding, what's going on in the world when you're around people. I mean, like even the weather. I mean. You watch the Weather Channel, they're trying to scare you too. You know what I mean? Like, here comes a hurricane, here comes a tornado. Like it's never like, sunny skies today. Hopefully tomorrow too. Or there's a chance you might get some rain. It's like, so I try not to even watch that, and you should know that too. Like you should know when it's gonna be a bad day out.
I just look up the sky.
Yeah, seriously, it's better than watching the Weather Channel, because they're wrong 90% of the time. So you're better off just stepping outside and being like, yep, it's New England. You know, it's nice outside, but that could change in 30 seconds, literally. You know, so like we were saying though before, like seriously, it's like, stay away from the news. It's just not it's not really going to help you out in any way. So by you knowing what's going on, yeah, granted, there's certain things you might want to know what's going on. But like for you to be on there every day, picking up the newspaper and all that's going to do is going to depress you more, because you're only seeing the dark side of the world. You're not seeing all the positive that's going on in the world.
That's like the same thing with social media. I feel like a lot of people spend time. So I don't get me wrong, social media is like a great platform to connect, and for like business wise and everything, to connect with people in other ways as well. But I feel like when you just get so absorbed in it, you see people they're just blindly on social media. Yeah, and it's just like, if you ask someone why are you really on it, and to stay updated with people or whatever. But I feel like people literally start comparing themselves with other people on social media, and that's why sometimes for my personal social media accounts, like I don't really watch stories like that, or like I try not to go on it a lot, because it's like sometimes I'll even find myself just like, if I'm on like Facebook or scrolling through some type of social media app for more than 5 minutes, I'll feel like I'm hypnoptized, and I'm just like, how much time just went by, and I just feel bad after, honestly.
At night, one of the greatest things that the iPhone came up with is how it on Sundays it gives you a breakdown of how much time you spent on the internet and entertainment and all that. And let me tell you, every time I see it, I've seen other people that's just out of control. Mine usually says somewhere, for the whole week I average somewhere between 2 hours or something like that. And I'll be honest, I look at them like, that's a lot of time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like out of 7, and I'm not really even on social media like that. I mean, granted, I probably do listen to a lot of podcasts and they time that into there. But like I saw somebody's and it was like, they spend 15 hours on the average day on their phone. No, and I'm like,
I don't know how they do that.
Hold up. 15 hours? Like, dude, I wish I had 15 hours of free time. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. But getting back to this, I mean, what I think one of the biggest things that people need to understand is the balance of life. That there is a balance in life that needs to be maintained at all times. And it's not, we could look at it and be like, oh, it's, the government, or it's the media, it's this and that. Other groups that people, want to blame for a lot of this stuff. And they could be right. But in the end, there is a balance. So, for as much good as you have, you got to have the bad, because how will you know the good is good if you don't have bad? That's part of our, what is that they talk about? Free will, like part of your free will. You can't have free will if you can't do bad. That's just with everything. With the weather, like I said, if you lived in Southern California and it was sunny, 95% of the day, but let's take that to like the extreme. Let's say there was no hurricanes, no nothing, no rain. It was sunny 100% of the time, and it's gonna be 85 degrees every day. At some point, you will be sick of that. It's like eating your favorite meal every single day for the rest of your life. At some point, you're going to get sick of it, and you're going to want something different. And rain just adds that difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know most people hate the rain. I like the rain personally. I like the snow. I like the rain. It's the same. Nothing really changes, but it's a balance. Like, okay, now you have a rainy day. Just like life. When things, like little things, if your life was perfect, everything went right 24/7, I'm sorry, really think about that. That would get boring. There needs to be challenges. There needs to be things that make you have to change. If you didn't have all these hurdles in life, you wouldn't. There would be no changing you. You would just stay. True. You would stay the same. You need these uncomfortable moments that make you want to reach for something. I mean, like, I remember some of mine at my lowest, and honestly, I remember looking at it and being like, damn, it can't get worse from here, and then something will go wrong and you're like, damn, it did get worse. but you know what? That built built my character. Now I'm not afraid of just about anything because of the fact that I've experienced most of it. So I feel like I could be hit with anything, and I'm strong enough that I could deal with it. And I can't say that for a lot of people. You know, I know a lot of people that can't do that. They can't deal with, excuse me, their everyday life and things of that nature. And it's a lot. I mean, like, think about it. You know, like, you see some people are struggling to make ends meet and stuff like that. How can you be like, hey, be more spiritual? This person's working 2-3 jobs. They got kids, they got husband, and they got meals to prepare. Like, they don't have time to sit down and meditate. They don't have time to pull a book.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to be in the right state of mind. You got to have time. And one of the things that in society that we don't have enough of is time, because of the fact that, you know, like we just said, people work in a lot of jobs. I mean, on a nightly basis, I hear people talk about, I just worked a 12-hour shift. I just worked a 14-hour shift. So now you go home, you're going to sleep, maybe a few hours, and you're back to work again. When do you have time to actually sit there and read a book?
Never. A
lot of people don't. I'm blessed that I've had the time that I have to be able to read and do this. So like I was saying, you know, people don't have all that extra time, and like I said, I've been blessed that I have that extra time to be able to read and do all of that. But if you do have that time, I think it's very important. And nowadays, you just Google a few things and you'll be right into the middle of this and hit that rabbit hole and go right down and find out everything you need to know. But, you know, like I said, in the end, it's a balance. You know, that's got to be maintained in order for life to flourish on this planet. There's always got to be that balance. And so that uncomfortableness that comes, it's part of life. You just got to deal with it. You know, there's many different ways to deal with it. You know, like we spoke about, my personal way of dealing with hard times now is meditating, yoga. When I've had a rough day, for me, the best thing to do is go meditate or do some yoga and then go meditate. And if I have the time, that's what I like to do. There's different ways for, you know, that's not the only way. You know, there's people that jog, people that, you know, work out, and that's how they get it out. But you got to have a way to get that out. Once you get that uncomfortableness in your body, you got to figure out a way to channel that out. And, you know, and I think that's very important, you know.
Definitely. Hey guys, so that kind of wraps up the Astral Thoughts podcast for today. Just want to say have like a special thanks to Gino for coming today. Gino will be starting his own podcast as well. The name of his podcast is A New Universal Perspective. And so Gino will be talking about most of the things that he's experienced in his life and his spiritual path as well. So thank you guys for joining. And we'll see you again next week. Thank you.